This channel is for entertainment purposes only, not to be taken as legal advice. Today marks the third class of our final process of Patrick Devine, where I'll be covering the final process in its entirety from beginning to end one more time. Today we'll be covering the final process of the non-UCC versus the UCC, as well as the performance and the payment bonds. It's important to note that while I am your guide in this course, I am not the originator of this information. The insights we will explore have been brought to light by many great gurus, including Patrick Devine. His tireless research and dedication led him to uncover a remedy for freeing oneself from the monetary system. After 9 years and over 5,560 documents, essays, and submissions to various governmental entities, Patrick Devine discovered the key to liberation in 2016. Then he disappeared and said, "Now it's up to you to set yourselves free." This live course with 100 students will cover the final process of Patrick Devine's great works, as well as information from others who helped him along the way. Let's begin. Okay. All right. All right, we have a lot to cover today. We are covering the final process one last time after these courses are complete. This will be the end of me covering Patrick Devine's final process. I will ensure that I cover absolutely everything as it is related to Patrick Devine and his final process. We're going from beginning to absolute end. I'm taking all questions that are pertaining to the subject matter of today. And I will make sure I'm very, very thorough about explaining the final process. To pick up where we were last time into this class today, we ended with discussing the important roles of the business trusts. If you're going to be operating in commerce for profit, you need a separate entity, a business trust, in order to keep your assets safe in and also to do your taxes. As Patrick Devine did for himself, he kept his business and his private bank completely separate. Now, the question has come up to me quite a few times since last class. Mr. Rowland, I've never really heard anything that Patrick Devine talked about business trusts. And if anything, he kind of talked against them. You would not be incorrect about that whatsoever. Actually, I'm quoting Patrick here, he would just say, as it comes to trusts, there ain't no trust out here. The reason for that is because the final process that Patrick Devine revolved all of his banking around was not through a business trust. A lot of SPC processes do operate all of their business and commercial standing through business trusts, and they write bonds or indemnity bonds over them. What Patrick Devine said is, well, I can see the use of business trusts in the business capacity, but not for me to do all of my banking transactions in. And that's why he developed the structure for his own private bank, utilizing the 3 EIN numbers. The 3 EINs cover the private individual banker's EIN, the foreign grantor trust, and finally his estate EIN, to work cohesively together for him to do all of his banking needs. The reason why I bring up business trusts and for the last one is, if you're going to operate in commerce, meaning if you're going to buy not one house, but 2 houses, or not one property, but multiple properties, or if you're going to help anyone, help it, whether it's family, friends, colleagues, or want to do business elsewhere with having renters or anything like that, you need a business trust, because you cannot do business where you do your banking. Everything is about banking, and the two sides often overlap with one another. But when it comes to this, everything that's kept in the private bank of Patrick Devine was kept separate than anything else that he was doing. If he slept in the house, if he used a personal vehicle every single day, if he used any transactions that were personal, he put it through his personal accounts. And really, that's just normal business practice as it is. You have your business expenses and you have your personal expenses, and you have to think of it the same way with the private bank. In addition to that, also, Patrick Devine was almost 70 years old when he finally did the final process and brought all these puzzle pieces together. He was not really looking to further his endeavors privately in business matters. I mean, honestly, he's probably had a headache from running for 9 years his We the People shareholders business that whole entire time. So he was kind of into his retirement years anyways. He was really focused at that time on his health. And so everything he was doing personally was just through his bank right there. And he didn't really have any other endeavors. That's often not the case for many of us, the viewers who are watching on YouTube or here in class. A lot of us have further aspirations that we want to accomplish for ourselves. And that's why if you're going to have further aspirations and want to do business deals with others and are going to operate in, even though you're operating the private, but with into a public capacity with other corporations and individuals, it's good to have a business trust already established so you can do those interactions. Then you're going to make a profit, and then all of those profits are then taxable. So then you have taxes to pay on that. As the nonprofit bank, it's exactly that. It's a nonprofit and it's a bank, and it deals with equitable exchange rather than for profit. Equitable exchange is similar to anybody who is offering you a job or a service for a certain amount of money. For example, if I want a hole dug in my backyard and the labor cost for that hole to be dug over 1 hour period of time is 50 Federal Reserve notes, I would then hire somebody, offer them the 50 reserve notes per hour, ask them to work for 2 hours. I'll give them $100 for their $100 of work. What just happened there is called equitable exchange. The amount of work the individual did is worth the amount of monetary value that I paid to them. This equitable exchange ensures that neither me or the other person makes a profit. It's just an exchangement by doing for the labor. In the for-profit instance, if you were to have someone dig those same holes and they have a corporation themselves and they have a lot of employees that dig holes, they might charge $60 an hour above the going rate, and then they make themselves a $10 profit, and then I would go ahead and give them that commercial payment, and then they would have to do the taxes for that, and then for me, I can write it off as a deduction. So that's kind of the differences between the two. So there's many people that are kind of near that retirement that are just like, you know what, I don't have 20, 30, 40 years worth of, you know, commercial business that I want to do with my life, and I'm not trying to build an empire. I'm really just trying to relax in my current state, you know, just kind of keep things quiet and move along with my final days in peace. And I totally understand that. And Patrick Devine was right there as well. For the rest of you, if you're like, I'm gung-ho, I am trying to build an empire, I'm trying to do this, or maybe you are trying to get to this point, but you kind of like some practice on what it's like operating in the private before you really go full in on your own private bank and following Patrick's methods, this is a great starting point. And it's absolutely great because you deal with taxes, you deal with operating employees, you deal with how to open up bank accounts in the private. I mean, it's everything that you'll be doing later, but at least if you mess up anything here, it's not a big deal as compared to here, which you really want to know what you're doing. The point of Creditor Academy is to kind of give you not only the high level here on YouTube and our other social media platforms about the final process of Patrick Devine, but really also in Creditor Academy when you come aboard, and when we explain the Patrick Devine process in detail, we really also keep it very detailed but high level as well. In the end, you will have your own employees. That is the end game. Let me make no mistake that my whole entire education is for you not to do anything on your own. It's for you to have staff to do it for you. And the reason why I'm taking this approach is for two reasons. One is it makes life more organized when you have policies and procedures. Policies and procedures are a way by which all businesses operate, and it should be no different than your private bank. In my personal aspirations of coming into this movement, I had so many obligations for my full-time job in the corporate world to what I wanted to spend with my family life. And then whatever sliver of time I had available, I would devote to studying this private truth movement, and also to do my own processes. That was very laborious because after you send out, 15 notifications to different organizations and stuff like that, even though I might get some wins and some losses, the amount of effort I put into getting those wins, I could have maybe got a full-time job and it would have all balanced out. So that's why I'm taking the approach that I'm doing. You need, if you really want to have your life be the lap of luxury, as well as, well, not the lap of luxury, I should just say more manageable, then having your own staff to do that is the way to go. Otherwise, you will graduate from Creditor Academy. You'll know how to be an individual banker. You'll have all the knowledge to run your bank, but then you'll go back to what all the other gurus had you do, which is doing everything on your own. And that is just not feasible for the long term. Now, again, you can do it. It's absolutely possible. And a lot of individuals do it, including all the other gurus that you may follow. But it's just a large amount of work. And especially when you start throwing in your own business and your own personal life on top of it, it really becomes difficult and unmanageable. So without further ado, I just wanted to clarify that, give a high level. That's why I brought up the business trust in the first place, and why I have it a part as my Creditor Academy course to do that. So what we're going to be covering today is about the very beginning of Patrick Devine, which is always, and I love this document, is about the UCC versus the non-UCC. So let me get that up. Okay. Right. Back to the very beginning, where we have all been before, which is this document right here. I have shown this document quite a number of times. It is Patrick Devine's great summary, visual summary of what's happening between the two money governments of America, the non-UCC and the UCC. Let me start off by kind of saying that the non-UCC is operating in the private. Many people do a UCC1 financing statement in order to go ahead and show, that they are the creditor over their debtor, and they do a UCC1 filing statement for that. A non-UCC is a privately registered way of filing that you are the secured party. And that's why on the UCC1, it gives you that option at the bottom. We will look at a UCC1 document here in class today. But just understand the monetary systems and the whole final process of Patrick Devine, This is where you need to start. You need to understand the two money governments. Let's start with the first one, the 1787 Constitution for the United States of America, Universal Hard Asset Labor Money Monetary Corporation. Labor is tax exempt, and bankers cannot claim a usury bar interest on this money. And just gave you the example of, digging a hole in exchange for $50 an hour. That is the labor exchangement there that is tax exempt, that the bankers cannot claim a usury bar interest on. And that means they can't put taxes on it. And the non-UCC document itself is our superior banking contract. It is establishing who the secured party is. Now, on the other side of the money government system is the UCC as itself, established in 1913 when the banking cartel came into the United States. The United States here is in all capital letters. When you see all caps written by Patrick Devine, he's making a statement that, hey, this is to be used for the commercial side of the monetary government. So he writes, the Universal Commercial UCC Contract Trust paper money system is the UCC shadow monetary corporation run by the shadow bar UCC bankers as foreign kleptocracy, unconstitutional UCC contract trust usury government. Is a kleptocracy is ruled by political and judicial bar UCC thieves. The two forms of the UCC commercial construction contract, paper money for debts and credits, is set up under two construction bonds. One, a UCC contractor surety performance bond, and a payment labor bond. As a combined full-funded contractors fidelity bond. This is the essence of this final process, is Patrick Devine pointing out the performance in the payment bonds. We're going to go into the description of those in just a little bit. But the Federal Reserve notes is debt paper money, and it is to be set off by bills of credit paper money. If there is no bill of value, then there can be no charge or debt, meaning no contract. You are the owner of your UCC contract trust, the three-sided houses of the UCC paper money system. Again, you are the owner. Meaning, what is the owner? An owner is that straw man name. The straw man name you are the owner of. It was created. You are the beneficial owner of that. Now, I want you to imagine this. This is kind of where it all kind of came about in the beginning. And if you're going to go to the very beginning of Patrick Devine's final process, you got to start at the same place. Got to start with mama. Always start with mama. And what happened is you were born, and mama just said, you know what? I'm going to create for you unknowingly a trust. And it was through the birth certificate. And the birth certificate then created that trust as kind of like the pyramid that you see in front of you. And mom is the guarantor of the trust. And then the trustees are the UCC government system through the contracts. And you are the beneficial owner of that trust. So you got mama, you got the trustees, and you got you down below as the beneficiary. A lot like what we went over in the business trust class last time. So the trustees, you know, if you know their responsibilities, they're in charge. They're the boss. They get to decide what's good for the beneficiaries. And if you know the government at any amount, that you know that they usually have their own best interests in mind better than yours. So what happened here is that your straw man is part of this three-sided pyramid system that was built for you. Now let's kind of go through that three-sided pyramid system that Mama created. The first side is the paper house foundation, is your owner's signature as the shadow foundation of your inherent and physical labor credits loaned as the initial UCC contract trust credits to the UCC contractor. The UCC contractors are part of the different government systems. They could be the Secretary of State. They could be the Attorney General's office. They could be the Department of Licensing. They could be the bank where you got your loan from for your mortgage. It could be from the vehicle title company. These are all contractors where you give your signature in order to utilize your credits. Now, how are they utilizing these credits? Well, on a very high level, what they've done is they took that trust that Mama made, and what they did is they activated a account for those credits to go to. Now, when you're giving your signature for these credits, you're not really just giving your signature, you're also applying a number, an identification number to it, because you're a employee of this trust system or Sista K trust that they built for you. So what it is that they created a Social Security account for you. Because in order to do business with these contractors, like the ones I just mentioned, they need those two things. They need a signature and they need an employee identification number, which is linked to the debtor, the debtor being the straw man or your legal fiction. That Social Security number is then acts as a savings account. So use that. It's a savings account. Digest that for a moment. It's a savings account. It's connected to the Sista K trust, which Mama created, and it acts as a checking account. Okay, this is what Patrick Devine called a letter of credit. Okay, so does it, and it earns credit over time, and because it's a security, and that's why it's printed on bond paper. It's a bonded security. So your Sista K trust is now getting funds, credits, because it's not backed by real money, but it's getting credits. And then this Social Security account, the savings account, is empty. Let's say it's got 0 credits in it at all, okay? So then on your side one of the paper house foundation, your owner's signature as the shadow foundation of your inherent and physical labor credits, because that's what it is you're exchanging your labor for credits, right? Hey, I want to buy this house. Well, it's $300,000. Well, what do you got to do to pay that off? Well, I got to do $300,000 worth of labor in order to pay that off. So as soon as you put that signature with your number, well, now all of a sudden that savings account, Social Security, has to draw from that Sista K trust where the credits are. And now it starts flowing into it. And then those credits then fulfill the payment of the house, the car, the vehicle, or whatever, right? And so then what they do is they say, now we got the credits and now we have them out there. Now what we're going to do is every single time that you do a signature for a house or a car, well, now we want to make money off of that. A for-profit corporation. That's why it says up here, the UCC United States shadow paper money system is a for-profit corporation. Okay, so what they do is they write performance and payment bonds, which are contractors' bonds, on all of those assets, okay, that you just acquired, like a house or a car. The performance and the payment bond is connected to the Social Security that was used to as the credits for the house, which together form a surety bond, okay, or fidelity bond, excuse me. But the reason why those are together is because as soon as those bonds are put over the assets to give not only the bondage over the assets itself, but then on top of it, they insure it. They insure the bonds. It's insurance, okay? So now, before you knew it, this $100,000 house now has a couple $100,000 above it of performance and payment bonds, plus you're, in addition to that, putting an insurance policy over it, which that in itself needs a certain amount of money. And that's why your interest rates are so high, you know, because all of these credits have to be created out of thin air. And then we're going to go more into the performance and the payment bonds and how those works. But that's kind of the high level. You need your signature. That's why it's the foundation of the paper house is your signature. Okay, so let's go to number two. Number two, the UCC debt money Federal Reserve notes created by the contractor as the shadow paper promises to pay the credits when demanded. This is the national debt, the shadow debt money that is in circulation today. So yeah, so now that debt money for the Federal Reserve notes created by the contractor, you know, the person selling the house or the vehicle, which is usually a bank or something like that, those are what's performance and payment bonds and those insurance policies is what's contributing to the national debt. That's the big picture. So now it's your house, your mama's house, your brother's house, your sister's houses, your friends' houses, all contributing now to basically this national debt bubble that we are creating. Side three is the UCC credit money in the form of bills of credit as the shadow surety bill to release the credits when you as the owner acknowledge, endorse, and return them to the contractor. They now owe the IRS a 1099-C showing the debt is canceled. So shadow surety bill. The surety is the debtor. So if you want to think of your straw man and had another name to it, there is a surety. I believe I have a definition down here. Yep, I do. A surety is a person who engages under a contract or of suretyship to answer for the debt, default, or miscarriage of another. For some purposes, inclusive of guarantor, as applied to persons, the word has an established and well-known meaning in the minds of most people and indicates an obligation to stand for the sum absolutely, unless discharged by a supine negligence of an obligor after notice. It is in broad contrast with the word guarantee, which imports a conditional liability that is liability if due steps are taken against principal debtor. And then suretyship is a contractual relation resulting from a primary or original, absolute, and unconditional engagement whereby one person, the surety, engages to be answerable for the debt, default, or miscarriage of another. And it goes on. Okay, so you're the surety, and you are the one that is making the bills of credit because they gave you a bill, and that bill of credit contributes to the UCC credit money system. And you, in order to release those credits from the performance in the payment bonds that were created to pay for the house or car or whatnot, all you would need to do is, as the owner, is acknowledge, endorse, and return the bill of credit to the contractor, to the bank, to the wherever that you got the contractor's agreement from. They now owe the IRS a 1099-C showing the debt is canceled. And what that is the 1099-C is a cancellation of debt form. There are 3 pages to a 1099-C. There's a copy A, copy B, and copy C. The copy A always goes to the IRS directly. The copy B goes to the borrower, and then the copy C goes to the lender. So oftentimes people get the copy B sent over to them, and then the copy C is kept by the contractor for their personal records. Then the copy A is sent off to the IRS for tax purposes. And that's what this is all about. It's about doing your taxes. These are for-profit corporations. These for-profit corporations have to pay the taxes on these credits that they took from you, okay? Otherwise, they're acting as a nonprofit, or they're masquerading as a nonprofit, but doing for-profit transactions. And that's where you, if they do not comply with you, and Patrick Devine reported them to the IRS, the CID, and the Treasury Inspector General. So that's where the power comes in. More on that in a little bit. In the middle here, you're going to see the inner structure is full of UCC credits from the 2 production bonds set up by the contractor, a contractor's performance bond and a labor's payment bond combined as a fidelity bond. Again, all of this that's happening from your signature to the debt money to the bills of credit all contributes to the inter-triangle, which is to these performance and payment bonds. The foreign UCC state of title of nobility bar kleptocracy members, political agents, attorneys, and judges are filing fraudulent and hidden claims against the contractor's performance bond by way of hidden U.S. commercial bankruptcy actions where they claim bar supplied services to UCC construction contract trusts. This is known as embezzlement. They use judgments with no assigned value that cannot be set off as a charging bill of credit, but they get an off-budget debt money payment that is never reported to the IRS. No 1099 forms and no bills of credit are issued to the owner to allow or show him how to set off this debt. The kleptocracy bar claims tax exemption immunity, but they are really operating for profit. Therefore, you can file an IRS form 13909 and or a 3949A reporting them, and you can get 10 to 50% of the IRS settlement by using IRS F211, or for local law enforcement officers that stand up and report using IRS F211A. You, as the owner of these 3-sided UCC contract trusts, have the right to terminate any UCC construction contract at any time. The Treasury IRS UCC Contract Trust Department, and you can also order the liquidation of all contractors' bonds and assets as your credits in order to settle all of your debts. As the owner, all of the remaining credits belong to you as American constitutional money. The non-UCC labor credits, which are to be deposited into your account in the Constitutional Treasury Department Depository. Okay, and right down here, the UCC bar judges and attorneys are all under oath as UCC commercial kleptocracy members. Kleptocracy means American communistic, or to mean thieves or power ruled by thieves. Your non-UCC status with the Treasury UCC Contract Trust, Secret Service Division, and the tax complaint form 3949A to the CID and the 13909 as tax exemption complaint form are the only ways you can protect yourself from them. That is a very powerful statement. And this is why I always start with this document, because it does a beautiful job outlining the high level of everything that's going on. And also gives you the detail of what it is that you need to do in order to protect yourself and retain your rights back. Okay, next document. Did that make sense?
Yes.
Yes, it makes sense.
Awesome, awesome. Glad.
Makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Keeping it high level. We're always going to keep it high level.
We got. It seems like to me we have to carry that document everywhere and read it, keep
everywhere
reading it,
you go.
so we can understand what it's saying and do what it say do.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
yeah, can you do it in monkey terms?
Yeah, right. That's as monkey terms as I can get. But the next section that we're going to look into, I'm going to share my screen for the next document, which is to go further into the non-UCC. The non-UCC. Let me talk high level about this. So this is everything about the UCC. The majority of it is called in the Article 9. Okay, there's this document. Just go online, type in Article 9, and also known as the UCC 9 is the revised UCC laws. Okay, it's like 450 pages. Okay, it's pretty lengthy. Okay, but it shows in detail everything about the laws of the UCC. Okay, so it was revised, I think, in 1998 is when the revision was. And this revision, they got the head of the bankruptcy court judge in there. He was there to describe it. He was going over the changes that they made, and they had a whole roundtable talk about it. And there's a lot in the UCC 9. I mean, really, this is where Patrick Devine really went into, and actually I'll probably show that document here in a moment. And he went through every single line of that UCC 9 document. Now, in all of that document, out of 435 odd pages of that document, Patrick Devine created this document on the side. He basically grabbed out of that document everything that was referring to the non-UCC, okay? And so the purpose of this document I'm about to read right now, that's in connection to the bigger picture we went over, is the laws that give the non-UCC its power, okay? These are what is referenced in order for him to be able to operate as a private secured party. Okay, so we're going to read over this. Very important. It's titled Non-UCC Laws Found in UCC 9, which is addressing the constitutional, amended, and statutory republic non-UCC choice of laws and republic jurisdiction for this nation and being the superior laws of the United States of America. Okay, so he pointed out the deposit account section. And in the deposit account section, it says, under new subsection, the only method of perfecting a security interest, this is Patrick Devine bolding and underlining these words. But the only method of perfecting a security interest in a deposit account as original collateral is by control. Filing is ineffective except as provided in section 9-315 with respect to proceeds as explained in section 9104. Control can arise as a result of an agreement among the secured party, the debtor, and the bank, whereby the bank agrees to comply with the instructions of the secured party with respect to the disposition of the funds on deposit. Even though the debtor retains the right to direct disposition of the funds, thus subsequent to B Part 1 takes an intermediate position between certain non-UCC laws, which conditions the effectiveness of a security interest on the secured party's enjoyment of such dominion and control over the deposit account that the debtor is unable to dispose of the funds. And the approach of this article takes to security accounts, under which a secured party who is unable to reach the collateral without resort to judicial process may perfect by filing. By conditioning perfection on control rather than requiring the secured party to enjoy absolute dominion to the exclusion of the debtor. Subsection B, Part 1 permits perfection in a wide variety of transactions, including those in which the secured party actually relies on the deposit account in extending credit and maintains some meaningful dominion over it, but does not wish to deprive the debtor of access to funds altogether. Let's unpack that really quickly. Start with the first one, which is this is all about control. And control arises from an agreement or contract. That contract is through the secured party, the debtor, and the bank, all caps bank. We have all caps here, all caps here. The all caps of the debtor is the straw man, the SSN number, okay? The all caps of the bank is the for-profit commercial banks or the UCC contractors, okay? So in every single instance, there's a secured party, there's a debtor, and then there's the bank. There's always, where we're going to get to is who is the secured party, where the debtor and the bank is pretty clear cut, okay? We know that the debtor is always going to be the surety, okay? And the bank is always going to be the UCC contractors. So now the secured party is now up for debate. Is it you, the secured party, the living? Or is it the secured party which the bank is trying to claim, right? Because what happens if you don't pay the mortgage on your house? Well, the secured party comes in with a lien on your house, and then they try to say, hey, I'm the secured party. If you ever sell this house or do anything with it, I have to get paid first. So it's a battle of who the secured party is, whereby the bank agrees to comply with the instructions of the secured party, okay? So who's the secured party? With respect to the disposition of the funds on deposit, even though the debtor retains right to the direct disposition of the funds, under the non-UCC law, the effectiveness of the security interest on the secured party's enjoyment, okay? So by doing a non-UCC, you're establishing who the secured party is. We're going to look at that document here in just a little bit. But because that secured party through the non-UCC gets such dominion and control over the deposit account. What's the deposit account? The debtor, the SSN account. The debt account is the dead savings account. The dead savings account is the Social Security number account, okay? And is unable to dispose of the funds. The funds are always there. And the approach this article takes to securities accounts, what security accounts? The debtor security account. What's the debtor security account? It's the Social Security number, under which a secured party who is unable to reach the collateral without resort to judicial process may perfect by filing. Filing what? A non-UCC. By conditioning perfection on control rather than requiring the secured party to enjoy absolute dominion to the exclusion of the debtor. So who's the seclusion? Who's the secured party going to be over? The secured party of the non-UCC is going to be over the debtor, okay? Which under subsection B1 permits perfection in a wide variety of transactions, including those in which the secured party actually relies on the deposit account in extending credit and maintains some meaningful dominion over it. but does not wish to deprive the debtor of access to funds altogether. Let's look at this last sentence right here. But does the secured party does not wish to deprive the debtor of access to funds altogether. And that's so true. Your funds are still in there. Your debtor still has access to it if you give your signature, right? So you still want access to those funds, just you're doing it now as the secured party over the debtor, and you're giving the instructions now on how those funds are accessed. But the debtor itself can still access those funds. Okay, so I really tore apart this paragraph right here. I don't like doing too much overkill, but I really want to make it clear since this is the last time I'm really touching this document. Liability of bank. The article does not determine whether a bank that pays out funds from an encumbered deposit is liable to the holder of security interest. Although the fact that a secured party has control over the deposit account and the manner by which control was achieved may be relevant to the imposition of liability. Whatever rule applies generally when a bank pays out funds in which a third party has an interest would determine liability to a secured party. Often this rule is found in a non-UCC adverse claim statute. Adverse claim statute. This article does not provide a specific answer to the question of which state laws applies to the restriction on assignment in the example. However, assuming that under non-UCC choice of law, principles and effectiveness of the restriction would be governed by the law of the state Y, which governs the franchise agreement. The fact that state X's Article 9 governs the secured transactions between the secured party and the debtor would not override otherwise applicable law governing the agreement. Of course, to the extent that the jurisdictions eventually adopt identical versions of this article and courts interpret it consistently, the inability to identify the applicable law in circumstances such as those in the example may be inconsequential. Okay, let's break this up. First of all, we're talking about the liability of the bank and how the secured party plays in the rules of non-UCC adverse claim statutes. What kind of claim are we trying to make? Well, we're trying to make a claim on the debtor and also the assets that the debtor is attached to. So now the question becomes, well, what state laws apply to the secured party over the debtor, secured party and the debtor would not override the otherwise applicable laws governing the agreement. What laws are those? They're the non-UCC choice of laws. What's the non-UCC choice of laws? It's any laws you wish to select to put yourself under. In the UCC 1 itself, the choice of laws are at the bottom of that UCC 1 page. We will look at that in just a moment. But at the very bottom, it's called filer reference data. Filer reference data. And that's where you put your non-UCC choice of laws. What Patrick Devine did is he put together a bunch of laws. Let me kind of scroll down. Right here. The non-UCC choice of laws that he selected were the Constitution of the United States per the Peoples, Article 4. He put in the first volume of Statutes at Large, 5th Congress, Section 2, Chapter 49 and 50. The 15th volume of the Statutes at Large and the Expatriation Act. He also put the 13th and 14th Amendments and the Servitude of Insurrection. He put HJR 192, which allows for the transfer of republic credits to the foreign bankrupt UCC contractors using foreign commercial bondage contract trusts. So here's his choice of laws that he applied to his non-UCC. And there's actually a couple others on top of that. He also included Article 9 inside of his non-UCC choice of laws, so then he can reference this. So why is that important? Why do we want to choose these laws? Well, the reason why is because we were choosing, all those laws are republic laws that the state has to abide under. So when you are claiming to be the secured party over the debtor under the jurisdiction of what laws, it would be the republic laws. And those republic laws are what give your secured party the power in order to give direction in liquidation of those performance and payment bonds. So that's the liability that is involved in here. And it's all revolved around, again, your deposit accounts. Okay. All right. Cumulative remedies. Remedies. What is this all about? I want my remedy. Give me my remedy. So let's talk about cumulative remedies. Former Section 9-501, Part 1, provided that the secured party's remedies were cumulative, but it did not explicitly provide whether the remedies could be exercised simultaneously. Subsection C permits the simultaneous exercise of remedies if the secured party acts in good faith. So you can do simultaneous remedies if you act in good faith. The liability scheme of Subpart 2 affords redress to the aggrieved debtor or obligor. Same thing, you're the obligee. As the obligee, you are the living or the secured party. And then the debtor is the obligor. Redress just means, hey, I was contracting under false presumptions. You know, oh, I didn't know that this would happen to me when I contracted in this way with my car loan or tie. Like, you didn't know there was performance and payment bonds, right, being written against this in order for you to get your remedy to fulfill the payment, right? So you can afford redress. You can recontract it. You as the debtor can do that. Moreover, permitting the simultaneous exercise of remedies under subsection C does not override any non-UCC laws. Remember that. Permitting the simultaneous exercise of remedies under subsection C does not override any non-UCC laws, including the law of torts and statutes regulating collection of debts under which the simultaneous exercise of remedies in particular case constitutes abuse, behavior, or harassment, giving rise to liability. Okay. Lot there. Okay, let's go to section 5, multiple secured parties. More than one secured party may be entitled to take possession of collateral under this section. Conflicting rights to possess among secured parties are resolved by the priority rules of this article. Thus, a senior secured party is entitled to possession against a junior claimant. Non-UCC law governs whether a junior secured party in possession of collateral is liable to the senior in conversion. Normally, a junior who refuses to relinquish possession of collateral upon the demand of a secured party having a superior possessory right to the collateral would be liable in conversion. Guys, this is so important right here. You are the senior secured party. You're the first in line, first in time over the junior. You have a superior adverse claim statute over the junior claimant, okay, through your non-UCC laws. Okay. I love that one. That's my favorite section. Title clearing systems under other laws. Applicable non-UCC laws, example, certificate of title, statute, Federal Registry rules, or the like, may provide a means by which the secured party may obtain or transfer record or legal title for the purpose of the disposition of the property under this article. The mechanism provided by this section is in addition to any title clearing provisions under the law other than this article. Very powerful. Again, certificate of title to vehicle, certificate of title to the house, anything that you have a title of under the non-UCC laws, and even what things that are federally registered or even state registered, which is why statute, right, may provide a means by which the secured party, that's you, that's the private bank, you know, utilizing the 3 EINs, may obtain or transfer record or legal title for the purpose of disposition of the property under this article. Where would you transfer this record or legal title to? Probably to the secured party. That's why you obtain it. Okay? The mechanism provided by this section is in addition to any title clearing provisions under the law. How many title provisions are there? How many different titles can you get for your house, your vehicle, your boat, your quad, your anything? Like you can even get a title to construction equipment, you know? So it is any title clearing. Okay, let's go to the scope. The basic damage remedy under this section 9 is subject to the special rules in this section for transactions other than consumer transactions. This section addresses situations in which the amount of a deficiency or surplus is an issue, i.e., situations in which the secured party has collected, enforced, disposed of, or accepted the collateral. It contains special rules applicable to the determination of the amount of deficiency or surplus. Because this section affects a person's liability for deficiency, it is subject to Section 9-628, which should be read in conjunction with Sections 9-605. The rules in this section apply only to non-compliance in connection with the collection, enforcement, disposition, or acceptance under Part 6. For those other types of non-compliance with Part 6, the general liability rule of Section 9-625B, recovery of actual damage, applies. Consider, for example, a repossession that does not comply with Section 9-609 for want of a default. The debtor's remedy is under Section 9-625B. 9-625B. In a proper case, the secured party also may be liable for conversion under non-UCC laws. Okay, so you get remedy as the debtor, and as the secured party will not be liable for the conversion. If the secured party thereafter disposed of the collateral, however, it would violate 9-610 at that time, and this section would apply. Other problems arise from transactions and relationships that were entered into under former Article 9, okay, or under non-UCC law, and which remain outstanding on the effective date of this article. The difficulties arise primarily because this article expands the scope of former Article 9 to cover additional types of collateral and transactions, and because it provides new methods of perfection for some types of collateral. different priority rules, and different choice of law rules governing perfection and priority. This section and other sections in this part address primarily this second set of problems. So now Patrick Devine goes into his final process, okay? This is a snapshot of how he deals with basically all of his stuff. I love this because it gets right to the point, okay? You're taking control procedure using the Republic choice of laws. Step 1, registered mail your private non-UCC of your foreign contract trusts, okay? Number 2, register mail your transfer of deeds of your foreign contract trusts with their supporting general accounting forms, okay? That's the SF30, okay? The modification of contract. This is to be used by the owner to control the contract. Part B, the SF1414, the consent of the surety the debtor. Owner's control over the surety, okay? Who's the owner? That's the secured party. That's your private bank. The SF1416, that's the payment bond for other than construction contracts. Republic Credit Asset Reservoir Depository as the collateral foundation for the performance bonds. SF1418, the performance bond for the other than construction contract, other than, was to be used to pay all the bills and taxes, okay? Why is it for the bills and taxes for the performance bond? It's because it's being traded on the open market. I'm going to go into extreme detail about the roles of the performance and the payment bonds probably on our next class, because I'm really just focusing on the non-UCC first and foremost, okay? But yes, and then I'll have another class where I really sink into the standard forms of this as well. And then I'm going to go over the transfer by deed and more on the foreign contract trust. But everything stems on step 1. Step 1 for just about everyone should be to establish your, or for what Patrick said. Patrick Devine said the step 1 was to get your 3 EINs, okay? That's step 1. After you do step 1, then you go into this process right here, okay? Because in order to do a non-UCC, you have to reference your private bank. And you can only reference your private bank by your EIN number you have associated with it. So that's why we have a course at Creditor Academy, and it's called The Structure of Your Private Bank. And we go into detail about what Patrick Devine said, everything about how your private bank operates and the importance of those 3 EINs. If you would like to register for that class, you can email classes@creditoracademy.com to register for that class. We have it every single week. We allow you to take that class as many times as that you like, because it's the foundation that you need in your learning before you start doing step number 1 of your taking control procedure. But yes, this is that right here. Now, let's go ahead. Let me stop sharing screen. Now let's go into what this UCC looks like. One second. Let's see this UCC. Okay. All right. Share my screen again. Okay. All right. So when you go on Google you find this. It's usually the state of Texas that has this. But this is the UCC financing statement that is being talked about, okay? So here's where the name, phone number goes of the submitter, the email contact, and then the address of the secured party, okay? This is for the secured party's info, okay? So name and address, right? Then we got the debtor's name, okay? We will go, I'll have to have a class over how Patrick Devine filled this out exactly. And I'll also have an option for everybody to get access to see it as well. If you'd like to see an example, though, of how this was filled out by Patrick Devine and his team, you can email creditoracademy@gmail.com. I give the final process documents for free for anybody to have access to. I'm not here to inhibit you from not only your learning, but also for getting ahead of me and going ahead and applying your knowledge as soon as you would like to. But this is where the debtor's information goes and the debtor's name. And then this is where the secured party goes. So this is where Patrick Devine put in the secured party, which is his private bank and his individual banker's EIN and all of that, and the mailing address of his private bank. And then this is where he named the collateral. So in the collateral statement, he basically just named everything the debtor owned. Okay. So he said, he described what the debtor was. He discussed the bailee and the bailor of the debtor. The bailee is always the living, where the bailor is always the debtor. So he did his collateral description, and basically in his collateral description, he gave the instruction to transfer all assets being liquidated into his private bank, okay? And he put that in the collateral description. Now, if I zoom in here, you'll see is these boxes, okay? What Patrick Devine did is he clicked on this box for the bailee and the bailor because that was the living and the debtor. And this right here, this little box right there, is where he did his non-UCC filing, okay? That's what he did. This little box right here allows you to register this in the private. They had to give you an ability to file your UCC claims privately and not have to go through the state. And this is where they did it. They gave it to you in this little box, okay? This is the optional filer reference data. This is where he put in his choice of laws, okay? Article 9, HJR 192. There's another version of HJR 192 as well. I forget because it was overturned and then it's into something else. I have to relook into that. But then he also put the 13th and 14th Amendments and the Shipping Act, the Miller Act, the Baby Act, so many inside of there. And this is the choice of laws that he was talking about that the UCC would be under. Now, this is just one part of this document. There's also an amendment form called a UCC 3. Okay. Yes. Okay. So this UCC 3 is where then he made specifics about the collateral. So the secured party itself in the UCC 1 did not give the exact instructions of what kind of property the secured party had control of. So that is where this comes in, the UCC financing statement amendment, where the collateral of the certificate of title to the vehicle or the mortgage or anything like that. And the name of the organization of the secured party is put in, as well as the financing statement and filing number. Now, let's look at this right now. What is the financing statement and file number of the UCC1? Okay. Well, the answer to that is Patrick Devine, when he put registered mail to himself, as you just saw in instruction 1, the registered mail number became the file reference number. And then he put a little stamp, and then he endorsed the stamp with his EIN number and his signature, and then he sealed it with his thumbprint. So that was kind of everything that was there. And I think he even wrote the date as well, because as you can see, the above space is for filing office use only. Well, you're doing a private filing through the non-UCC, filing. So you're able to put your registration mail number up here, and also the stamp as well with your signature across. And that's pretty much the whole document. And then he put his collateral, and then the UCC3 is where he then put his actual property that that secured party has done. Now, let's go back to what I was talking about earlier. Let me stop sharing my screen. Start telling you about the business trust. Now you kind of see the correlation here, right? The business trust, you could put property inside, and it's operating in the private. It's part of your commercial business, right? That's why I say if you're going to do anything in business or for profit, you know, that's not going to be housed into your private bank. You want to put it there, because you labeling that as the secured party under the UCC3, like the house you live in, the car you drive every day, and all of that, that's where you're going to utilize equitable exchange in order to fulfill that debt that is tax exempt. That's the exchangement of your labor credits, right? So how do you pay for this stuff over here? Well, I mean, that's a whole process with utilizing bonds and stuff like that. But mostly you want to pay for stuff that you're doing business with by just operating it like a normal business, by conducting yourself in commerce. Again, there's a whole thing about bonds about that. And I'm not here to go into extreme detail, but I'm just giving you high level of all of that. So that's why whatever you choose for your secured party, your UCC3 as your collateral, make sure you're not using it for business. Okay. So don't put an LLC in it if you're not, like, you know what I mean? Just think about it. Keep them separate. So anyways, that's not legal advice. That's me just talking in general. Talking to myself. Okay, so what else should I cover? That was pretty good. I think that's I'm going to go more into the UCC. There's so much to go through in the UCC. This is going to be a couple-day course. And so, but this just kind of gives you the entry level. What we just covered was the high level, the pyramid system of the non-UCC versus the UCC. We went over Article 9. We went over the UCC financing statement. We went over the UCC3. We went over, the importance of getting your 3 EINs. I'll kind of go into that a little bit later down the road. But this is a good introductory on what it was that Patrick Devine put together for the final process. And I just showed it to you. Honestly, I showed you almost the entire process at that little last box for him restoring the Republic. So, if you want to do your own research, get the free files at creditoracademy@gmail.com. You can absolutely read into this stuff yourself and get ahead of the game. I'm not here to hold any knowledge from you. So with that being said, we have 100 students and I'm sure a lot of questions. I'm right now just going to take questions pertaining to what we just discussed in class first, okay? Let's go to Diana.
Hello. Hi.
Hey,
Okay.
hey.
Hey. So on when you were talking about like the private mail of your foreign private
Right.
trust and the contract and the SF30,
Mhm,
1414 and all that. Okay.
mhm.
You said that if 1418 pay all the bills and taxes for the performance bond, they pay the taxes. Don't they pay the taxes? We don't pay that, do we?
No, we're tax exempt. We're tax
Yes.
exempt. Yeah, they pay the taxes. That's why they need to give you that 1099-C. And we will go over that bill of credit and endorse. When I get more into the SF forms, I'll kind of bring in that bills of credit stuff. Mhm.
Okay, perfect. Thank
Yeah,
you.
no worries. Ayana, let's go to you.
Hey, Paul. Peace and blessings.
Hey, please and blessings to you.
I just had just a couple of questions for clarity. The first one was when you were saying the email to take the structure of your private bank operates. What did you say that email was?
That was classes@creditoracademy.com. You can also send an email to creditoracademy@gmail.com, and that auto response will give you every bit of information about our organization, as well as emails, where to volunteer, and all of that.
Okay, and then is a donation required for the structure of your private bank?
Yes, a donation is required, and it's the first and only class. And then when you take the class, we have professors live. I'll probably have a recorded version as well because people just got different schedules. But you can take the class as many times as you like. And what I like about that is it gives you an opportunity to connect with other classmates. The average class size is anywhere between 20 to 50 students. And each of the students have taken it one or multiple times. And we leave the room open after the professors leave so you can all interact and conversate with one another and build those connections. And that's why I love having the live courses. So then you all have that opportunity to connect with one another.
Okay, and then just because I was trying to grasp and understand what you were saying. So when you were talking about the UCC one, and I don't even know if it was UCC 3, and you were showing that little box and it had non-UCC.
Right.
Are we literally not filing that? And you're just saying this is how you properly fill it out? Or am I technically filing that with the state?
That's a great question. I love that question. Okay. Let me go into detail. Okay. So registering anything privately versus publicly. Okay. You go to the state. Business trust, again, the business trust is a great way to kind of get your feet wet on doing things in the private, and it relates so much to what we're doing. When I want to set up a private business, okay, I fill out the indenture agreement, and I have a notary go ahead and stamp it, okay? That's a public official notarizing, that, hey, this is a business that's been created through an indenture agreement. Registering something privately on like the public realm where you would call the state department and they would create a registered number for you. Registration number is accomplished through the post office, through a registered mail ticket. I will show you what one looks like.
Yeah, it's the red one because I use those all the time.
Use them all. So what do you use them for?
I've used them to do securities. I've used them when I've had documentation, per like the stamp duties or the UPU. So I use that in the stamps. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it's like the most official, so to say, if that's a word. But I assume you're talking about this one, right?
There you go. You got it. Perfect. So absolutely, you can get these at your USPS, and they're a registered mail sticker. Now, let me tell you, registered mail, when you're doing registered mail, it's handled with absolute care. It means that it's always with an attendant from the moment you ship it to where it's out. When you register mail something, the process kind of looks like this. You'll go to the front. You'll say, I want to register mail something. And if you've done this before, every clerk says the same thing. are you sure you want a registered mail and not certified mail? You know what I mean? Because it's a process. You're going to wait there for about 15 minutes, you know, as they do it. And you say, no, I need a registered mail. It has a value and is a security to it. So then they're going to say, okay, well, then you need to fill out a registered mail white slip that looks like this.
Right.
Okay? And it's going to have the from and the to. And how Patrick Devine did it was he put from himself and to himself. And then it says, how much is the value of this registered mail ticket going to be? Remember, that has everything to do with insurance. Okay. So if you're putting the highest you could put down is 50,000, it says that on the ticket. If you do 50,000, it's going to be a couple $100 to ship that thing. Okay.
Right.
You know, I did mine for like hardly nothing. You know what I mean? And then I register mail it to my, because it's just an insurance policy to make sure that it gets delivered to the right location, you know? And so that's pretty much it there. After that's complete, then the next thing to do is to fill out your, this is form 30, what was it? 3811, PS form 3811.
3811.
Yeah, which is the green card. And what he did was Patrick Devine took this and put the sender and then put who it was from. And you do not touch the signature section. You don't touch the person who receives it is the one that signs. What this is proof of delivery. That's what it is. So he then had the post person come up to his door, sign it right off, and then gave it back to the postman, and then went back to the USPS, and then in the mail he got the signature side of that. So then you got this, which is the number at the bottom. Patrick Devine quoted that registered mail number at the top of his UCC1, and then put that onto the sticker on there. Now, what then happens is you wait there for 15 minutes because the USPS person has to seal the package very thoroughly. And if you've been through this process before, they'll like, you know, do 5.
That brown tape.
Yeah, brown paper, exactly. The brown paper. And then they'll take their stamp, their registered mail stamp, and they will just and then that shows that it is sealed and that that is there. And then they put it into their registered mail book, where they will always keep that on file. And then that's pretty much what Patrick Devine did. And now he's got a registered mail. When he received it, he never opened it. He kept it enclosed. So he just took that and he filed it away because he has copies of that document. Now there's question about, well, is it the original that goes in there or is it the copy? You know, I don't know what Patrick Devine did. It's up to you. But as long as you got a copy, you're good. You're good. Yeah. So there's that. So that's pretty much the whole registered mail process. Now, when you have your UCC3, that does not have to be registered mail because it's referring to the filer reference number of the registered mail number. So that doesn't need a new number. It just needs that reference to it. And again, whatever collateral you name to be the secure party under, remember what comes with that, because now you're housing those assets in there. When we go over the structure of the private bank, this is how the secured party works with the private bank, and the private. These are the 3 henchmen, so to speak. It's the secured party, it's the owner, it's the individual banker, and the trustee of the foreign grantor trust. Those 3 need to be in a board meeting together when discussing any property.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
The secured party says, I'm the secured party over these assets. The private bank says, or the individual banker says, I have these assets inside of my bank. And the trustee of the foreign grantor trust says the assets are held in the vault of the foreign grantor trust.
Gotcha. So we do the 3 the same way we do the 1 and reference the registered number on the number 8.
Yep, that's what Patrick Devine did. Yes, he always put those are the three individuals that always need a conversation with one another as dealing with assets. And every single one of them needs the reference data of, you know, saying, and then you got to give notice. Okay. Like you got this non-UCC and whatnot. Who are you going to give notice to? You know,
right.
So now you can notice your state, the attorney general's office, and all. A gentleman always gives notice.
Okay.
So you got to give notice on who the secured party over the debtor is. And that's why he did the non-UCC filing to the Treasury Department, to the State Department. He did it to the FDIC. He did it to the Attorney General's office. He sent everybody. He said, I'm letting you know I'm the non-UCC secured party over this debtor.
Gotcha. And is there like either on the training or somewhere on the academy, like that has like a template or something that gives us maybe structure on how to notify, like what to write when we send them notification?
We'll have everything in the academy, but I can't have I'll give high level. I'll definitely always give high level. Actually, the big thing is, and I don't know if I'm going to cover it in my last final process of the classes or not. I'm still considering it. But I have a group called the Tribes. I love the Tribes. Roz, is Roz here? Where's Roz at? Say hello, Roz.
Great.
Hey, there he is. Okay. So, Roz, I've been meaning to have a conversation with you. You're our latest, Creditor Academy contributor, which I'm so happy to have you. Roz, can you, in your own words, tell everybody how important it is to be a part of a tribe and what it means to be a part of a tribe?
Just to kind of wrap it up in a nutshell, I don't want to take too much time, but is your nucleus, it is your base that, extends your protection outside of, your reach when it comes to your assets, when it comes to your family, your loved ones. It's that, extension, to your, birth family that now creates that unilateral security amongst, for all. Yeah, because really what it is you're creating not only a part of your lineage, but you're also giving notice. You're saying, hey, I'm a part of this tribe. Hey, we have these rules. Hey, we have these notifications to let you know about that, to say, hey, I'm driving privately. Hey, I don't need this driver's license to identify myself. I have my own private identification, even private passports and all that. I mean, tribes are really a group of individuals that give notice of what their standing is. And really, when Patrick Devine was part of his own tribe, his tribe was in the Republic. That's all it was. He's like, my tribe is in the Republic laws of the Constitution. And that's really what the tribes is that I'm building it out to be. And it's amazing. Just like I meet with Roz and Martin and so many other people are part of tribes. We're still looking for more tribe groups. There's a lot of you. But you have all these different processes, a ton of ways to give notification. And it is impressive. It really is. And I'm excited to see it. And I want more tribe members to kind of show what they have done for their group, and so we can apply it for all. So I'm really excited about that. Okay, cool.
Is there any way I can ask you one last question?
Go for it really quickly.
Okay. And then remember when you were showing like the 3 basic steps and it was saying the foreign contract trust. And then you had mentioned, and again, if I'm misquoting, I apologize. You were talking about the 3 EINs. Did the 3 EINs make up the foreign contract trust, or is that like a physical document that makes up the foreign contract?
It's the
trust?
Sister K trust. The Sister K trust is what makes the foreign UCC contract trust that's connected to the Social Security number. That starts with Mama. Mama did that. That's where that's where that foreign trust came from, and that's why there's a whole thing from the Treasury Department to the UCC Contract Trust Division, and that's kind of why I start with that, because that's kind of the pinnacle of the beginning. And actually, we go into much more detail about that in the structure of your private bank. Not only do we go from the very beginning steps, but then go into how this relates to your private bank as well. So yeah, there's that.
Thank you.
Cool, no problem. Let's go to Love More. Captain Greg, excuse me.
Yeah, hey.
What is?
I've got a
sorry, I messed up. Okay, Love More, let's go to you.
Hey, Paul Michael, Credit Academy family. Just one question. What is the stamp? How do you get the stamp?
Any stamp you want.
Just any stamp. You just go to the post office and put a stamp.
Yeah, if they had a 1-cent stamp still, I'd get that. It's a lot cheaper.
Okay, then. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Captain Greg, now up to you. Sorry about that.
Yeah, hey, in regards to the stamp, there are different valuations. You can find that in the Stamp Act of 1800 something, and talk about paying the tax. That's really what the stamp does.
Yeah.
All right. The question I had was from a group member over on our Discord group. He is watching you live on YouTube right now. He is wondering, we're already through a lot of this process, but he's wondering about setting up for his adult children. One is, I told him he probably can be a guide, but they must be the one to take action. But he's thinking about becoming the trustee for his adult children. And then after he passes, he will pass that on to a commercial trustee. Would that be in order, or what your lines of thinking are?
Oh, yeah, got you. Okay. Well, first of all, are the children above 25 or older?
No, they're not. And that's a question I've had, is why the 25? I think I understand it is above the age of majority plus something. I forgot the reason of it, though.
Yeah, no, it has to do with the Shipping Act, and basically that your commercial vessel cannot be used for commercial gain anymore, and that you can now have full control over it. So the Shipping Act, I think it's Shipping 25, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so yeah, it just says that you are able to get control of your foreign vessel again and use it, get it out of the commercial bar for-profit corporations' hands, and to use it for your own fruition. Now, what he can do, though, is he's still the guardian, so over those children, so he's able to control those assets as well. So that's how that guardianship would come into play until they're the age of 25.
Thank you.
No problem. Let's go to Jerry Lynn. Jerry.
Hey, Paul, how you doing?
Hey, Jerry.
I'm here. Hey, Paul, just a quick question on the estate EIN. I set that up, and I set that up 25 years back. Does that matter if I set it 25 years back or not?
No,
okay, because when I set that 25 years back, they got a letter saying that they wanted me to file a 1041, which I'm not ready to do yet.
Gotcha.
So,
and did you take our EIN course?
Just through the live courses, Tuesdays, Thursdays. Is there another one?
Yes, email classes@creditoracademy.com, and you'll get our auto response to register. We cover that, and I want to ask you certain questions about it, but I can't on YouTube, and this is where we can kind of like dig a little deeper into the details of that.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Yep,
And
absolutely.
did you get my email about setting up a consultation with you?
Yep, absolutely. Or my auto response probably hit it back to you.
Okay. Is there auto response to set it up?
There's an auto response that should hit you back. So if you sent it to me personally, you should have it. But I will look out for you. Which one? Do I just type in your name?
Yeah.
Jerry?
Yeah.
Okay, Jerry. I won't give out your thing publicly.
I didn't get an auto response from you. I sent it
Oh
out.
yeah, I don't even see that your email has the name Jerry in it.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, no, I don't have it in here. So go ahead and send it to, I'll put it inside the chat right now. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Paul, I also went through Cash App and tried to book an appointment.
Oh, cool deal. I think I did. I think that's already, you already sent it, right?
Yes.
I think I did already see that. And then you hit the consultation link.
No.
Hit the consultation link. It's in the auto response.
The one link that I was able to see only had 1/2 hour.
Yeah, I get booked really fast.
So to get the hours time.
Yeah. Book a half an hour for that time just to reserve it. And then I'll see if I can move some stuff around for you.
I got you. Okay. Cool. Thank you so much.
Yep. That'd be a good start. Okay. Great. Awesome. Awesome. And Jason Carrier.
Hey, Paul. I was also I asked you earlier before the class started, I was going to do some of the classes, but should I just do a consultation or should I do the classes?
You can do, here's what I would suggest, because I do a lot of consultation. I feel bad because 9 times out of 10, when I speak with people, the majority of people talk about asset protection. The majority. They're just like, hey, I'm in whatever situation and, you know, I just want to protect some assets, and which then leads either into a business trust or discussing about the structure of the private bank. I would say take the courses first and then determine if your questions were answered inside of the course. And then if not, then we can have our private consult.
Okay, because basically I had a business trust and or I had a business and I wanted to put it into a business trust.
Have a consultation with me. Yep, just do that. Okay,
great. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks, Paul.
No problem. Totally understand, and I know. Yep, done a bunch. And guys, professionally, that's what I did in my previous career. Is I did business trust for people. That's why I'm creating a course. So then it's a little bit more well put together. But let's go to Lance Hagen.
Hi, thank you for being around. Thanks for being around. Say, I did a VMO and I wanted the previous files, you know, the with the extra file.
Yeah, gotcha. Oh, with the extra file. Did you send me a comment?
Well, I was just trying to get through, so.
Yeah, or I mean, you messaged a comment though?
I think so.
Send me another comment. I'll get you taken care of.
Okay. Well, it's on that VMO, and it billed me twice, but I'm not worried about that. I'm sure it'll all figure itself out.
Send me an email then. Send me a direct email. Just kind of give me a quick summary. Be like, hey, I was Lance, and I'll go ahead and address you right away.
Oh, I appreciate it. Could I ask you a quick question?
Man. Yeah, it's an easy fix. I know what you're talking about. It's an easy fix. I'll do that for you. No worries.
On that trust, so that's already available where a guy could take that?
Yeah, it's my quick start guide. So yeah, that file I just put together because I had so many consultations where people are just like, dude, Michael, like, how do I? And I was like, man, I got to put something together. And I just put on my business trust stuff. And I just said, okay, here's my declaration of trust document. Here's my quick start guide. Here's how to manage it. Here's everything on the laws on how to operate a business trust. So I just threw in basically the boilerplate of all the documentations of authority that I use, and then I just say, okay, you can read it. My business trust course, which I'll have live, will actually go through way more detail and a step by step and be a lot easier. But for that, it'll get you where you need to go.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate you.
No problem, Lance. Absolutely, buddy. Let's go to Arthur Dexter. Arthur. Let's go to Marty Starr. You're on mute. I see you though.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know how to unmute. All right, I kind of went through the courses and stuff a few times, so I kind of already started, but I'm having trouble with the this probably is off topic. I'm having problem with the proof of identity. Is there like a website, or am I like creating my own? Like, how do I?
Well, we do that for you. Absolutely. We just
email you.
Yeah. So you go to just email Creditor Academy at gmail.com. You'll get our auto response of everything within our organization. Now, we have IDs, public novelty stuff for novelty, and you can go get stuff from there, and you just send an email. That's sales@creditoracademy.com. We've been catching up on a lot of orders. We've got such an influx, so we made sure to be on top of that. And, so yeah, we'll do. That's where you would get it.
All right, so let me just repeat it. You said sales@creditoracademy.com.
Correct, but just email creditoracademy@gmail.com, just so that you got everything. So then you're just like, oh, cool, I got all the Patrick Devine files of the final process. I know where the classes are. I know how to volunteer. I know how to upload my own remedy videos. I know how to, that's kind of like my one-stop shop for everything.
Oh, awesome. All right, cool. So creditorsacademy@gmail.com.
Creditor Academy. No S. Yeah, there we go. Creditor Academy. Perfect. Arthur, go for it. I see that your mic is open now.
Hey, how's it going?
Doing well, man. What's going on?
Not much. Having a little problems getting my estate set up online.
Oh, why is it so difficult, bro? What's happening?
Well, it is saying that it can't take the information, the same SSN or the same name as the decedent.
Did you take our structure of our private bank course?
I did not.
Start there. We can answer that question.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay.
Cool.
Well, thank you.
No problem. Email classes@creditoracademy.com. Okay, let's go to Mr. Dean, not Mr. Bean. Mr. Dean. Gosh, I miss Mr. Bean though. Oh, you're so great. Mr. Dean, Mr. Dean.
You don't hear me?
Oh, I hear you now.
Finally. All right, cool. All right, I'm curious. If I was birthed in one state and then live in another, but they're all for the forms that need to be notarized, which state do I notarize in? Is it both states?
Operating.
Either, so both states pretty much.
Yeah, Patrick just did it. Wherever you're operating, that's where you're going to be putting all your stuff together.
Okay, perfect. And now just one more question real quick. Now, if am I to send is correct the non-UCC first and then do the UCC on, can I do that online or by mail? And
this is interesting, okay? Because Patrick Devine is very different than the standard, because I'm here to tell you there's been, by a show of hands, how many of you have done in what's called an SPC process? By a show of hands, in your little, button where it says raise your hand, how many of you have done an SPC process? I'm going to wait a moment, let her see how many people we got. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There's 100 people in here. So 12 of you, only 12 of you out of 13. Okay, 14. Okay.
What was the question again?
How many of you have done what has been called an SPC process? An SPC process, secured party. Yes, secured party creditor process. Raise your hand. 15, 16, 17. Okay, now there's a lot more. There we go. Now I'm starting to see a lot more. Okay. So, my question for the people who have raised their hands, that have done that from other gurus and all that. Why are you, I mean, as we're kind of, I mean, I'm just going to ask, and you can actually, you know what, I want to kind of cover your anonymity here. So right inside of the chat box, when you did that process, how many of you, by yes or no, were able to get remedy or to apply processes that worked for your benefit doing the SPC process? Just yes or no. Yes or no in the low. No, never tried. No, no, no. Yes. Okay. Yes. No.
Fine.
Yes. Early into it. No. Good. Okay. Never tried. Okay. Okay. So, and not yet. Okay. So, it's not that that is incorrect. Okay. It's just a different way of operating. Okay. And the unfortunate part is that a lot of people who did the SPC process had the, and I'm just kind of speaking in general, this may not apply to you, but just kind of speaking in general terms from the people I spoke with, that they thought that that was it. That was the end game of all end games. Do the SPC process, live the life of your dreams. Then very shortly after that, you realize, whew, there's still a lot of studying to do. Wow, there's still a lot of processes to apply to that as well. And some people are just, they're still working to study and apply those processes additionally. And some people have paid thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to go ahead and get these SPC processes, only to really be left dry. And what I mean left dry, not that the guru like misled them or anything, but like, oh, like you're left dry, like, okay, now go read the rest of the stuff. You know, it was almost like the hook, right? Oh, do the SPC and that's it. Like, I'm good. Now everything's going to be working. And then, yeah, the disappointing stuff after that. Patrick Devine, what I like about, or what's different about him and also how he does this process, one, I like his simplicity. But two, he does everything through the private. He actually does not do a UCC 1 at all with the state. He just submits his non-UCC and he references the UCC 9 that we just looked at under the choice of laws. And he submits that to the Treasury, and then he does his transfer by deed. Now, then he goes into bills of exchanges a little bit, but then he really just concentrates on the GSA forms. Very powerful forms, very powerful indeed. And when used correctly under the right circumstances, could be oftentimes the only forms that you ever use. Not to say that there's other processes that can also apply to this as well. And let me tell you, there are many. This is why I like Patrick Devine's. It's simple, it's straightforward, it operates in the private. He pretty much covers everything in his final process, including his private identification And he does all of his notices as well. And in addition to that, he tells you how to operate your private bank, or how he operated his private bank, and even named the employees and what their job duties are. And that's really what sparked me to want to go into the policies and procedures, because now he laid out what all of the employees are supposed to do. So now I'm just like, wow, well, now I can actually hire for those positions and give them a process by which that they can operate regularly off of. So, so that's kind of the position I'm taking. So thank you for those that raised your hands. Again, I'm not here to talk bad about the SPC process. It's just, it is definitely a firm foundation that has been, I would probably say, set by most, if not all, gurus of today. And sometimes you can even take some of that thing and apply it to Patrick's process with security agreements and whatnot. And you could just, you know, adjust the wording a little bit. But yeah, I mean, that's what's out there pretty much. Actually, there's pretty much, up until I met Patrick, yeah, Patrick Devine is the only one with a different final process than everybody else. He has a very different way of thinking. And yeah, it's just very interesting. It's very interesting to stumble upon the way he thought about things, and near the end. All right, let's go to hands raised for questions. That was just a little side comment. Thanks for going with me on that little thought journey. Ernie Breen, let's go to you. A question? Or are you just raising your hand because I asked you to, that one? Let's go to Yvette.
Hey, Paul Michael, how you doing?
Yay, doing super good.
Good. Loving all this that's going on. So I just want clarity as far as the non-UCC is concerned, because I was confused as to, I thought we were supposed to file it with our birth state. So that is a no. So the non-UCC is just a private registration, self-addressed back to you. Okay, and so what declares you being the secure party?
You, the living.
So there's no transaction that would cause you to become, I mean, is it just like just giving notice to all of the powers that be?
That's
it. So do you have to do it in like both states? Because I'm like, from, you know, I was born in one state and I'm living in another one.
Wherever you're going to be operating other. So the notice to, while Patrick Devine did it, he gave notice to the Treasury of his non-UCC, gave notice to the State Department, gave notice to the Department of Licensing, gave notice to pretty much everybody on how he was operating as the secured party under his private bank. So he just gave notices all around, pretty much is how which is pretty much the same thing, right? When you did a UCC1 filing through the SPC process, you just said, hey, my state, I got to see if there's any liens against the debtor account, and then just kind of go from there. And then you gave your notice utilizing the state's filing UCC1 filer reference data, right? Which they gave you a registration number at the top of that document. And then they put it in their own filing office. This is the exact same thing. Instead of going through the state to do it, you do it in the private. There's really no difference.
Gotcha. I never pursued the SPC anywhere else. So this is just clarity. So thank you so much. Appreciate it.
No problem. No problem. Absolutely. Let's go to Dietra Seymour. Dietra. All right, let's go to Teddy Thomas.
Hey there, Paul. How are you?
Hey there.
I have a question for you. When you was talking about the 1414, 1416, and the 18, when you send those in, okay, say for instance, like a electric bill or something like that, how far back can you go, or should you be trying to go so far back?
I mean, you know, I had someone ask me a similar question, and actually, I was talking to somebody in a private consultation about a win that they had, and they were kind of talking about the remedy and whatnot, and they said, you know, Paul Michael, I spent 6 months to discharge a bill. I finally got my win, and I was just like, what was that bill? And I was just like, oh, it was my final rent payment on my last place that I was renting at. And I was just like, how much was it for? And he was just like, it was $900. I was like, dude, 6 months for $900? Like, pick and choose your battles. And that's pretty much what I would say to here is pick and choose your battles, because let the past lie in the past, as there's much to do in the future.
Okay. That's what I wanted to know. I mean, how far can you go back on anything? You know, mortgage is something different. Yes, I want all my money back.
Yes, that's right.
You think about,
I want it all back.
Yeah, you think about the electric bills, the water bills,
yeah,
the phone bills, and I just wanted to get a general idea on how far back can you go with that. So thanks for answering my question.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, you can go as far back as you want, as long as you got record for it. And yeah, we didn't, man, if you want to talk about game changers, the SF 1047, I mean, that's a huge thing right there. All right, let's go to Dietra. Are you still there? I still see your hand raised, but you're on mute. So I don't
it
know.
might be Dietra.
Dietra, excuse me. Dietra. No? Oh, okay. Ernie Breen. I'll try you one more time. And Arthur Dexter. And Lovemore.
Paul Michael, what's up, Magic Shay or Master Shay,
Master Shay, yes.
Yeah, she said that she will contact you.
Finally. Okay, great. Hope we can work out a deal. That'll be exciting. I would love to work with her. She did great work, and I want to continue that great work in just a bigger vision way, and look forward to that, because then we would have a new social media platform for everybody to get in touch with me. So that'll be exciting. So speaking of social media, please.
One more thing.
Yep, go for it.
As I has expressed before, I am leaving the country, so I am no longer on the in the United States of America. So how do I do the registered mail from not in America?
Oh, they got registered mail all over the world.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, no worries. All right, everybody. Well, that pretty much concludes today's final process lesson. The title of this video is called The Beginning of the End. This is the third class of the final process as we're putting it all together. I'm going to be as thorough as I possibly can, as this will be my last time teaching the final process of Patrick Devine. But it's been such an honor to be able to meet so many of you. And yeah, we will kind of deliver this channel differently when I wrap all this up. But if you would like to be a part of our Facebook group or private Facebook group, please email us at creditoracademy@gmail.com. If you would like to be a part of our classes, please email classes@creditoracademy.com. If you'd like to volunteer, email hr@creditoracademy.com. And if you would like any of our products, you can email sales@creditoracademy.com. And our next class will be next week, Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as usual. Thank you so much for attending today, and I look forward to seeing you all at our next lesson.
Yeah.